Hey y'all, welcome back as we talk about the new books releasing on the week of March the 6th. Our first full week of March is anticipated releases and just some other interesting sounding ones. I am Morgan and thank you so much for joining me today. Kitty, don't rub it. Yep, that happened. And here is Sunshine. Maybe she's in frame. I don't know right now. But thank you so much for being here as we go over all the fascinating new books. Let's get into it, shall we, Kitty? Big girl, yeah. There will be timestamps for all the different genres as we work through them. We're going to start with the thrillers, though. Yes, we are. She needs to be brushed. Oh my God. I have the cat hair. Oh my God. And the first one is What Have We Done by Alex Finley. It says, a stay-at-home mom with a past, a has-been rock star with a habit, a reality TV producer with a debt, 3 desperate lives, 1 deadly secret. 25 years ago, Jenna, Donnie, and Nico were the best friends, having forged a bond through the abuse and neglect they endured as residents of Savior House, a group home for parentless teens. When the home was shut down after disappearance of several kids, the 3 of them were split up. Though the trauma of their childhood has never left them, each went on to live accomplished if troubled lives. They haven't seen one another since they were teens, but now they are reunited for a single haunting reason. Someone's trying to kill them. To survive, the group will have to revisit the nightmares of their childhoods and confront their shared past, a past that holds the secret to why someone wants them dead. It's a reunion none of them asked for or wanted, but it may be the only way to save all their lives. It's described as an edge-of-your-seat thriller with a gut-wrenching coming-of-age story. Interesting enough. I will give it that. The next one is definitely okay sounding. It is another thriller. It is Death at a Party by Amy Stewart. Nadine Walsh's summer garden party is in full swing. The neighbors all have cocktails. The catered food is exquisite. Everything is going according to plan. But Nadine, devoted wife, loving mother, and doting daughter, finds herself standing over a dead body in her basement while her guests clink glasses upstairs. What happened? How did he come to this? And then it says it'll rewind till that morning when Nadine is in her kitchen making last-minute preparations before she welcomes more than 100 guests who are home to celebrate her mother's birthday. Apparently, it also marks a different anniversary besides just her mother's. It says, still Nadine will focus on tonight. Everyone deserves a celebration after the year they've had. A chance for fun, a chance to forget. But it's hard to forget when Nadine's head is swirling with secrets, haunting memories, and concerns about what might happen when her guests unite. So yeah, this one sounds like it's going to be different. Next is going to be more of a mystery than a thriller. And this is The Mimicking of Known Success by Malka Older. It is a cozy Holmesian style murder mystery with touches of romance. On a remote gas-wreathed outpost of a human colony on Jupiter, a man goes missing. The enigmatic investigator Mosa follows his trail to Valdengeld, home of the colony's erudite university, and Mosa's former girlfriend, a scholar of Earth's pre-collapse ecosystems. Paletti has dedicated her research and her career to aiding the larger efforts towards a possible return to Earth. Ooh, cool. When Mosa unexpectedly arrives and requests Paletti's assistance in her latest investigation, the two of them embark on a twisting path in which the future of life on Earth is at stake, and perhaps their futures together. So see little bits of romance, and it says it's a cozy mystery, and it's a detective story, so that's cool. It's an actual detective. Now we're going to move into sci-fi, and I know this is one of the highly anticipated releases for several people. It's on a lot of lists and stuff, and it is going to be The Curator by Owen King. I will give it, this book has props because there's a cat on the cover. And also, apparently they worship cats. Yes. So, that is already winning it points in my book. It begins in an unnamed city nicknamed the Fairest. It is distinguished by many things, from the river fair to the mountains that split the municipality in half. Its theaters and many museums, the morgue ship, and like all cities, but maybe especially so, by its essential unmappability. Dora, a former domestic servant at the university, has a secret desire to find where her brother went after he died, believing that the answer lies within the Museum of physical research, where he worked when Dora was a child. With the city amidst a revolutionary upheaval, where citizens like Robert Barnes, her lover and student radical, are now in positions of authority, Dora contrives to gain the curatorship of the half-forgotten museum, only to find it all burnt to the ground, with the neighboring museums oddly untouched. Robert offers her one of those, the National Museum of the Worker. However, neither this museum nor the street it is hidden away on, nor Dora herself are what they at first appear to be. Set against the backdrop of a nation on the verge of collapse, Dora's search for the truth behind the mystery she's long concealed will unravel a monstrous conspiracy and bring her to the edge of worlds. That was really hard. Okay. Like I said, the cat, I give it props. A lot of this I'm not as sure about, because it also reminds me of the City of Lost Chances, which I was so looking forward to, and then just the execution. This week we only have the one YA, which I have seen on a bunch of people's anticipated releases as well. And this is Lies We Sing to the Sea by Sarah Underwood. This is a debut novel, and it's inspired by Grecian fantasy that they believe will strike well with fans of Circe or the Song of Achilles. I haven't read either, so I don't know. Each spring, Ithaca condemns 12 maidens to the noose. This is the price vengeful Poseidon demands for the lives of Queen Penelope's 12 maids, hanged and cast into the depths centuries ago. But when the fate comes for Leto, death is not what she thought it would be. Instead, she wakes on a mysterious island and meets a girl with green eyes and the power to command the sea. A girl named Melantho, who says one more death can stop 1,000. The prince of Ithaca must die, or the tides of fate will drown them all. Next, we're moving into the fantasy genre, which is kind of the biggest, of course. The first one is going to be a fantasy romance by Scarlett St. Clair. Big author. She's got a lot of stuff coming out. Just had a book come out, and apparently she has this one. And then the next one, I think, in the Hades and Persephone, is supposed to be later this year. And I think I saw her name attached to something else, too. There's just a lot. But this one confused me a little bit, because I really wasn't sure that it was her or new or whatever, because it's being released as an ebook only. But everything points to yes, it's coming out this week. First time publication. Mountains Made of Glass, though, is the name of this book. And this one, I don't remember what kind of retelling it is. I think it also sounds a bit Beauty and the Beast-ish. No, that's from the inside, but okay. All of Gisella's life, her home village of Elk has been cursed. It isn't a single curse, it is one after another, each to be broken by a villager, each with devastating consequences. When Elk's well goes dry, it is Gisella's turn to save her town by killing the toad that lives at the bottom. Except the toad is not a toad at all. He is an elven prince under a curse of his own, and upon his death, his brothers come for Gisella, seeking retribution. As punishment, the princes banished Gisella to live with their seventh brother, the one they called the Beast. Gisella expects to be a prisoner of a hideous monster, but the Beast turns out to be exquisitely beautiful, and rather than lock her in a cell, he offers Gisella a deal. If she can guess his true name in 7 days, she can go free. Gisella agrees, but there is a hidden catch. She must speak his name with love in order to free him too. But can either of them learn to love in time? 7 days. Okay. Next up is The Foxglove King by Hannah Witten. This is her new epic fantasy series, and I will say that I do get the vibes there, because she is laying out groundwork with mythos and a pantheon of gods, at one point a pantheon, and the current religion, and like a world building history here, and intermingling of things. I like what we're seeing. I like where it's going. We do have some, I hope we're not going there on some things, but I'm afraid of it. Main character, though, is Lure. She escaped from a cult at the age of 13 that lives under the city of the main kingdom that we're in. It says because of her death magic, she can't go out from the city. I'm not sure about that one. That one didn't track. I think that was another time. But we focus on her as she's been living on the surface now for the past 10 years. No, less than 10 years. She was 13. or she was 10. Yeah, I think she's 23, close to the eve of her 24th birthday. And she is caught though by these warrior monks who drag her in front of the king, and instead of, sending her to a slave labor camp or just killing her, the king offers her a choice to work for him, spy for him, figure out why his villagers are dying using her special powers. And yeah, there's just a lot going on here. There's political intrigue, there's history having to be delved into. It's like the alteration of history too. Like one of the warrior monks is actually like a librarian and everything, and you can see the contradiction between different versions of books as they were written at different points in time. Yes, and the connection of our three main characters, which is one of the things I hope that does not happen. I do not want there to be a love trope. I don't think it's set up for a love trope. Some people saw it, I don't know. But our Princey character and our main character Lore and our warrior monk character who has to watch over Lore as she's, make sure she stays in line. And these two, they have feelings. This guy, he's like, okay, yeah, you're beautiful, but it's whatever. I don't care if we're that way. Sure, I'll have a good time with you, whatever. So, I don't think that is the love triangle that's going on there. Was his best friend, falling out, things. I talked about this book too much, probably already. It went well though. I'm looking forward to the next one, to seeing how she expands upon the groundwork laid here, for sure. Our next book is another time travel-y like one, and this is called actually The Time Trials by M.A. Rothman and D.J. Butler. It says, Marty Cohen was a gifted linguist and student of ancient military strategy who stepped away from academic Egyptology and opened a woodworking shop. Away from the bitter politics and petty rivalries, he's happy to take care of people and play the occasional war game and try to make a good life. Then mysterious visions begin to rob him of sleep. Soon after they start, he gets summoned back to Egypt. An off-the-grid dig funded by eccentric financier has discovered texts that may be the earliest Egypt has produced. They'll pay Marty silly amounts of cash just to fly out and take one little look. Marty turned his back on the academia game, but he's still a small business owner who has to make payroll during a recession, and he can't say no to the money. But the text opened doors to more visions and to an astounding journey. A ragtag team of archaeologists finds itself in proto-historic North Africa, a dying land dominated by monsters where humanity is badly in need of champions. And behind the war against the monster overlords lies a greater struggle. Marty and his team have been chosen to be champions of all Earth and run the gauntlet on humanity's behalf. Farewell. Failure will mean extinction. Why did I say farewell? Oh well. Our next one is a sequel book. I think it's the only sequel maybe on the list. And this is The Faithless by C.L. Clarke. This is the sequel to The Unbroken, which Terrain is a soldier stolen as a child and raised to kill and die for her empire. Her only loyalty is to her fellow conscripts, but now her company has been sent back to her homeland to stop a rebellion, and the ties of blood may be stronger than she thought. Luca needs a turncoat, someone desperate enough to tiptoe the bayonet's edge between treason and orders, someone who can sway the rebels toward peace, while Luca focuses on what really matters, getting her uncle off the throne. Through assassinations and massacres in bedrooms and war rooms, Terrain and Luca will haggle over the price of a nation, but some things aren't for sale. And the next one is called The Lost Trilogy, so it's going to be 3. Terrain and Princess Luca must return to Baldera to reclaim Luca's throne and to face the consequences of dismantling an empire. I don't know, I love the covers, and I like the sound of it. So it might be one worth putting into a TBR jar to come out sometime. Our next one is going to be fantasy/literary fiction, so it's a good segue into our next genre. And this is going to be The God of Endings by Jacqueline Holland. Colette Lestrange has been hiding the dark truth. She is immortal. In 1834, Colette's grandfather granted her the gift of eternal life, and since then she has endured centuries of turmoil and heartache. Now, almost 150 years later, Colette is a lonely artist running an elite fine art school for children in upstate New York. Her life is suddenly upended by the arrival of a gifted child from a troubled home, the return of a stalking presence from her past, and her own mysterious growing hunger for blood. So, immortal kind of vampire story. It's weird though that it took 150 years for, if it is a vampire story, the blood craving to start. We will move on into fiction books now. The first two though do have like this magically vibe to it. And the first one's going to be The London Seance Society by Sarah Pinner. 1873, an abandoned chateau on the outskirts of Paris, a dark seance is about to take place. Led by acclaimed spiritualist, known worldwide for her talent in conjuring the spirits of murder victims to ascertain the identities of the people who killed them, she is highly sought after by widows and investigators alike. Leanna Wickers has come to Paris to find answers about her sister's death, but to do so she must embrace the unknown and overcome her own logic-driven bias against the occult. When Vaudeline is beckoned to England to solve a high-profile murder, Leanna accompanies as her understudy, but as the women team up with the powerful men of London's exclusive seance society to solve the mystery, they begin to suspect that they are not merely out to solve a crime, but perhaps be entangled in one themselves. Okay, so, as I said, it is listed as general fiction, but it has these magically occult elements. Sarah Pinner is the author of also The Lost Apothecary, so if you like that one, then you're probably going to like The London Seance Society, her new one. And also, she did the blurb for our next book. And this is called Wayward, which its tagline is really awesome. And this is by Amelia Hart. It says, I am wayward and wild inside. 2019. Under the cover of darkness, Kate flees London for a ramshackle wayward cottage, inherited from a great aunt she barely remembers. With its tumbling ivy and overgrown garden, the cottage is worlds away from the abusive partner who tormented Kate. But she begins to suspect her great aunt had a secret, one that lurks in the bones of the cottage, hidden ever since the witch hunts of the 17th century. 1619. Altha is awaiting trial for the murder of a local farmer who was stampeded to death by his herd. As a girl, Altha's mother taught her that their magic, a kind not rooted in spellcasting but in deep knowledge of the natural world. But unusual women have always been deemed dangerous, and as the evidence for witchcraft is set out against Altha, she knows it will take all of her powers to maintain her freedom. 1942. As World War II rages, Violet is trapped in her family's grand crumbling estate. Straitjacketed by societal convention, she longs for the robust education her brother receives, and for her mother, long deceased, who was rumored to have gone mad before her death. The only traces Violet has of her are a locket bearing the initial W and the word wayward scratched into the baseboard of her bedroom. Weaving together the stories of three extraordinary women across 5 centuries, Amelia Hart's Wayward is an enthralling novel of female resilience and the transformative power of the natural world. So, yes, there is that. There is that. Are you just gonna leave now? Are you gonna sit? Or gonna leave? Okay. And the last one for the week is one that has a good sounding premise, but it's gonna depend on the execution, whether it goes well or it's gonna miss. That's gonna be Joanna Porter Is Not Sorry by Sarah Reed. The headlines dubbed it the art heist of the decade. 20 years ago, Joanna Porter was a rising star in the art world. Now she's an unknown soccer mom. When an invitation arrives for an elite gallery opening from her former lover, the great Nestor Pindero, Joanna wants to throw it in the trash where it belongs. But with some silent help from her daughter, she makes an appearance and comes face to face with the woman she was before the powerful and jealous Nestor ruined her. La Rosa Blanca is a portrait of Joanna herself, young and fierce and fearless, a masterwork with a price tag to match. When she cuts it out of the frame, rolls it up, and walks out, Joanna is only taking back what was stolen from her. But hiding out with La Rosa Blanca in a shack on the Chesapeake Bay, Joanna digs into the raw work of reviving her own skills while battling novice thief paranoia, imposter syndrome, and mom guilt. But Joanna doesn't just want the painting, she wants to paint again. To harness her powerful talent, she must defy everyone's expectations, most of all her own, for what a woman like her should be. This is where the execution part may or may not work, because what is a woman like her supposed to be? That is all I have for today. Hopefully you were able to find something new that you hadn't heard of, or one that you just didn't know is coming out yet. And find a new one to try. I definitely have some that are going to be going in my TBR bowls, and for the odds to maybe be in their favor in a future TBR game. if you enjoyed this video, if you found it useful, please check out some of my other content if you haven't already, like the February wrap-up that I just did where I probably talked way too much. And if you're enjoying those and my unboxings, reviews, vlogs, consider subscribing and joining us for all our future videos. Thank you guys so much for being here. I hope you're finding something awesome to read. I will see you in the next one. Bye guys.